Hello decoy carvers, my name is Dave Spear and this is the fifth video in a series that I've created on how you can modify and set up decoy patterns on your computer using free software. Now if you've been following along, you know that we've already created this side and top view of a widget, and if you haven't been following along you should probably go watch those other videos first, because each one of these builds on the knowledge of the last video. Now don't forget to watch this in full screen so that you can see everything I'm doing without it being blurry. Now we've got the side profile and the top profile of the body done. Now I want to work on the head, and I'm going to show you another zoom tool. I've been using my plus and minus keys to zoom in and out, but I can also go to the magnifying glass tool here, select it, and I can draw a box around the head and zoom in just to that area. And now I've got it nice and big so I can see exactly what I'm doing. So if I go to the Paths dialog and hit B for Bezier tool, I'm going to start creating the outline of this head. And so that I don't bore you to death, once again, I'm going to keep it just a little rough so this video isn't too long. So I'm not going to close the path this time like I have before and connect from the bottom of the cheek here to the top of the crown. And the reason for that is all these nodes get awfully close together where the bill touches the crown or the bottom of the cheek or whatever, and it becomes really hard to select different things. So what I found is it's a lot easier to go ahead and just put these things on separate path layers. So I notice I can't match the curve here of the front of the forehead. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the control button again and highlight that line and click to add a node just like I have before. And I'm going to try to match the curve of this head with the tool there. And it's a little rough, but again, I don't want to waste your time or bore you to death. So let's double click on this now and call it head outline. And I'm going to do one more thing here. I like to keep all this stuff sort of organized. So I'm going to move this to the bottom and I'm going to create a new path, and I'm just going to use it as a visual indicator. It's just going to help me see the separations of things. So that'll make more sense as we get more of these. So we created the outline of the head. Let's go ahead and show it so it doesn't disappear when we create another one. Let's hit the B button for Beziers and let's create a new path. Now if I click real close to this head, sometimes it wants to go on there, but it didn't, so I'm okay. So again, anytime the angle of something changes is a good place to drop a node. Control, get the double circles, close my path. I'll use the plus and minus keys now to zoom in, and I'll sort of tweak this so it sort of matches the bill. By dragging these handles around, dragging these nodes around, give this cheek a nice curve. This isn't really correct for a widget, but this will make something I do later on the top view a little easier, which I'm probably not even going to mention when I do it, but just know that you can always come back and fix this later. So that's pretty close. That's pretty close to the shape of the bill. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's name this upper mandible. Let's go ahead and create the eye now. Hit the B, we'll start a new path here. I'm going to click and drag, and then hit the control button to close my path. Then I'll go ahead and just, with the mouse, grab these lines, get them awfully close to the eye, and there is our eye. So let's name it eye. Now I showed you how to use guides before. Besides using them for measurement, they're really good for making straight lines. So the straight line at the bottom of a cutout on your pattern, or for example, right now I'm going to create the people, it looks like I'm dragging guides and they're disappearing. They're there, it's because I'm not viewing them. So I can go to View, Show Guides, and there's my guides. And it looks like I've got, oh, I see, this line up front here is showing me the width of the breast. I'll go ahead and just leave that guide. So I want to create a new path here that basically shows the center of the pupil, and that is going to be where I drill my hole on my block before I cut out the side and top view. So hitting the B again, by clicking near this guide, I can get this nice straight line on it, and that's why I put the guide there. Now if I click again, I get this weird little cross thing that I don't want. So Control Z, Control Z. Because that last node selected, everything I do is going to be connected to it. If I hit the Shift key, if I hold the Shift key down while I click on it with the mouse, I'm going to deselect it, and then I can come over here and just start another thing. And now we have a nice little cross here for the pupil. So let's name that pupil. Let's go ahead and create, let's see, what don't we have? We've got the eye, we've got the upper mandible. Let's go ahead and create the lower mandible. Hit the B to start a new path. I'm going to put it right there. Make this curve and make the upper or the lower mandible come out about right there. So I don't bore you to death. I'm just getting it close. Lower mandible. Now, of course, you could come in here and put an eye channel. You could mark the high spot of the jowl. You could do a bunch of things. But in order to try to keep these videos relatively short, I'm going to stop here and call this good. So I'll save my file, and in the next video that I do, we will create the top view of the head based on the measurements of the side profile. Thanks for watching, and stick around.